Well guys, how do I look with my avatar's new look? As you can see, I've got myself my new shirt on, in addition to a tie on it, in addition to a nice little fashionable 3D glasses on, in addition to that little speaker right in, just about to be in front of me, in addition to the bandana onto my head. And also, not to mention, I've got myself my skin color is all ended up almost representation from Splatoon and Splatoon 2 for the Wii U and Nintendo Switch because of these paint blobs all over me. Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here and I'm back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic Forces for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and of course Nintendo Switch. So last time we explored through stages 10 through 15, in addition to beat the likes of Dr. Eggman when he forms of classic Sonic's portion of that boss. And now we're going to be continue on and move on to stage number 16, but it takes place in Metropolis, in the capital city. So let's get started.
Listen up! We just got word that Eggman's forces are undermanned at his headquarters in Metropolis.
They're probably staging somewhere else as part of Eggman's plan. This could be our only chance to take the city.
Exactly. That's why we're focusing on a full frontal assault on Metropolis. I'm calling it Operation Big Wave.
Who cares what it's called? What's important is to have a well-thought-out strategy.
I thought up this strategy in about a minute and a half. We're going in hard and fast. We're not gonna stop till Eggman's army is destroyed. Sonic is busy fighting Shadow, but the rest of us can do this. We've got the strength and the spirit to win. There's no finer group that I'd want to fight with.
Ha! Great speech! Let's give Eggman an old-fashioned beatdown.
They have more in sheer numbers, so the idea of a quick, focused attack isn't bad. We also have Sonic. I mean the other Sonic, so I have no doubt we can do this. Also, if we can destroy the Phantom Ruby, we should be able to send the other Sonic home. At least I hope so. This is all new territory for me.
Okay, let's head straight for Eggman's HQ. Time to save the world, people!
God damn, that was a long speech. Now I do apologize of how the awkwardness is going on at the very least, whatever, before they start to speak and join each other from those walkie-talkies. But there we go, folks. Here we go into the almost in a 50% of the game of Sonic Forces already. So here we go with stage number 16, Metropolis, which is a new environment we're going to be taking place into, and as it forms of Capital City. So even then though, that as far as this level goes, that it doesn't feel as more likely exciting compared to how it does in Grand Metropolis and Sonic Heroes in my opinion. Oh god, there's Infinite.
Activate the Phantom Ruby. Make them wish they'd never been born.
Stay calm.
Whoa, we're going to anti-gravity segment. Very much like how it does it in, whatchamacallit, a, Death Egg Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles by itself. And speaking of such, here's the anti-gravity 2D segments. I hate anti-gravity segments like this, especially I hate it in the other 2D platformings, and I especially hate it here. Well, it's not so bad in here though, because even then though, that this stage might be very simple in my opinion, but until when we get to the later stages throughout in Metropolis level, I get seriously get an amount of trial and errors and later down the road. Oh god, I totally forgot about these lasers actually. So even then though, that's the reason why I have no idea why I just did that right there, because I was double checking on those red star rings to be located. In fact, speaking of the red star ring locations, this is by far the easiest level to actually spot those red star rings, because they are literally on site as you can see here. But even then though, that's as far as memories goes, that's all I can say. Oh goodness gracious, I've almost gonna die, thanks to that camera almost screwed me up. In fact, because of the blocked camera with that little block cannons and all that stuff, or the laser cannons I should say, but even then I managed to make it out just fine. But anyways though, so there are some few things that's worth mentioning though, for those of you who might have missed it already. Oh god, these infinite snake heads, they almost reminds me of the Hydras from Hercules. But even then though, unlike in Hercules, that's how the fact that for Hydras, that if you cut off those Hydra's head, they will respawn. But in this game, that they just seems there, and then we don't have to deal with those infinite Hydra snakes heads. So even then, I found it super odd. So anyways, the last red star ring is very simple, but it's all about timing requirements, if you probably couldn't tell what I was going to be doing, because I need to get these enemies out of my way, because as you can see, I don't want to hit that little boost pad, because if I hit the boost pad by accident, it'll automatically goes into, well, autopilot right there. Because of that though, if I accidentally touch it, if I don't touch the red star ring, then it only takes like one chance to able to grab it. So, there we go, that really concludes. Sorry for a little bit of a tangent right there, and Infinite is behind me for the whole time. See, Fernando, that concludes Capital City. See, Fernando, not too shabby and not too much of an issue. Please, so close to getting S rank though. But, oh well, at least we got ourselves the, still a gold medal as always, and we got ourselves our new bronze right there. Until we're able to continuously leveling up, then we would able to actually just, you know, become an honor to the Hedgehog. So, we got ourselves a camera into our neck, which even then though, that could be something almost very similar to the photographies and all that stuff. Maybe I might as well equip that one day, but I'm not exactly sure when. But for now on though, we've done with stage 16, and I believe it's now time to move on to stage number 17. So I wonder what stage 17 will bring us to. If I can recall correctly, they're going to be bringing us into, I should say, the next boss fight, which appears to be versus Infinite. You know when we fight against with him last time, ever since Modern Sonic did manage to take him down, but he's not entirely down yet. But now it's the Avatar's turn to take down Infinite. But even then, except the fact that it takes place in a different location, which was in, obviously, Metropolis instead of Mystic Jungle. Of course, there are some noticeable differences here and there, but still.
More ants to crush. I wonder if this world can offer me a real challenge. Huh? And as if to answer, the world sends me a trembling child. I'm going to fight and die here, or run away in fear again.
Hey, don't be scared. This is your moment to shine. Keep going. Don't let your fear own you.
Fine. I will teach you fear, then pain, and then, well, at least the fear and pain will end.
Okay, so now we're going to be doing with Infinite for a second time, but obviously it's now Avatar's turn. But for some reason that every single Sonic character always calls him Buddy instead of the actual name. Well, it's pretty obvious of how the fact that I kind of wish it actually has a customizable name, just like how it does in the DeviantArt. But even then though, that's probably just a nitpick. But anyway, here we go with the second fight against with Infinite. But I found this fight to be a lot harder compared to the first time around, because the only thing that makes it really difficult compared to how it does in the first time is the fact that you do need to dodge a lot of those little Phantom Ruby powers in the narrow room this time, rather than just actually just continuously chasing against with him. So even then though, unlike in Sonic's fight with him, so even then though, that if you somehow accidentally touch those little bite-sized versions of the Phantom Ruby stuff, this happens. It seems more accurately, everything is all crazy around here, especially in this battle arena. Just actually just makes you dodge those specific cannon shots. And if you think if that this fight was actually over, but it's not over yet, because even then though, it makes the fight even a lot more harder and worse as you can get, is because you now have to deal with him, not to mention with those Phantom Ruby powers, but also you need to deal with this really bullcrap dodge right there, because I always found that to be really hard to dodge with that particular attack, where Infinite was almost gonna charge right at me. But even then, that's probably just a nitpicking as well. And also you need to dish out as many robots as possible, even with this really pathetic design robots right there, because sometimes you'll just actually pop up respawningly with those little open and closed doors. But even then though, every time you kill the enemies, you'll respawn a lot, even especially with some of these battles like this. So yeah, you need to make a mad dash onto this segment, and don't jump, by the way, because if you accidentally jump on this part, you're seriously gonna go nowhere with those particular dodging those, but you know, the attack itself. But when you're able to actually time your when you time yourselves right with the dodging you know, the Infinite's diving attack, you should able to actually get your lock-on cursor registering, and you should able to be doing just fine. But even then, that again, the only thing you need to worry about is these robots, as you can see, especially noticeable with this little homing Phantom Ruby attack right there. So even then, let's see if I can just hopefully I might as well. What? What? Oh, frick it, I'm killing it. There I go. Okay.
I underestimated just how desperately the feeble cling to life.
Ah, finally, there we go. I cannot believe how it just happened right there, because admittedly, I first defeated him, but then all of a sudden, this really bullcrap projectile just catch me off guard, and all of a sudden, I've killed as soon as the boss is dead. Is it like Mega Man and Bass all over again? From, King Fortress 1? From, you know, when you're trying to deal with the mini-boss on that level? It reminds me of that. Ah, I hate when bosses happens to be like this, especially if you want to able to actually, you know, if you're trying to deal with the last hit on them, but all of a sudden this random projectile just catch you off guard, and then I died from that. That's really pointless.
I remember you. You ran from me before. You survived then, but you throw it all away now. Kill. This will be goodbye. What? How is this possible? It can't be. How did you? No matter. They have only 2 days left. Let them contemplate the inevitable till I end this once and for all.
Oh my god. Eggman's robots, you can just get the likes out of me, but even then that won't happen again. But even then, no, believe me, it won't. So anyways, the next level we're gonna be hitting on to, it now see forms of chemical plants yet again, but chemical plants. Really?
We were going well with Operation Big Wave. Then everything fizzled out when that Phantom Ruby kicked in.
That fake shadow was created using the Phantom Ruby's power, right? Even if it's a virtual reality projection, it's as strong as the real shadow.
Rouge, have you found the intel I was looking for?
No, not yet. But I have reports that Eggman's database is located at the chemical plant. If we can check that out, we might find something there.
That sounds like a promising lead. We have to figure out the secret behind Infinite's power and virtual reality. Tails, can you handle this?
Got it. I'll take Sonic, I mean the other Sonic, with me and head to the chemical plant.
Alright, so let's get started with chemical plants. Seriously, dude, is it really necessary to put in those two exact same names between each other? That makes it entirely unnecessary. And speaking of unnecessary, here's the most unnecessary music choice for chemical plants in this game. I always thought to myself that it would be a remixed version of chemical plants, much like how it does in Sonic Mania and Sonic Generations. But no, we got ourselves the, this really odd music choice right there. I know they're trying to make the Mega Drive like as possible, but again, it doesn't excuse the repetition of it at all. But anyway, but yeah, as you expected, that Infinite is still not down yet, because even then, though we still haven't got enough power to able to deal with him just yet. But for the time being, we'll have to play as Classic Sonic from now on, because of, you know, how the fact that we're gonna have to research upon things, upon how the fact that, you know, how ended up with the, how come, the, Zavok and, Metal Sonic especially, and, Chaos Zero, because I say Chaos Zero because, the Chaos that we've all known from Sonic Adventure 1, that's the normal, Chaos, that blue, liquid monster, as you expected from that game, but, and also the fake version of Shadow, because I could tell I say it was fake, because, if you couldn't tell already, after the Sunset Heights from the modern Sonic's level, we've bumped into the Shadow that we've, saw from the beginning of the story of Sonic Forces. But what I've noticed something right off the get-go is that I was so shocked when the real Shadow jumps in, and then he told Sonic that was a fake. So even then, I saved that Shadow that we just bump into in Sunset Heights. I almost said Seaside for some reason. That I saved that was a fake for the other replica Shadow. Well, because I say that because the eye detail looks exactly different. Because first off, we'd like to point things out for this point is that his eyes, the bits of his eyes, is actually pure red instead of it doesn't have the white shiny parts unlike the real Shadow. And also not to mention that his eye movements, especially with the bip eyes, I should say. Sorry for a little bit of a dialogue, it's gone really messy at one point, folks. But it doesn't actually move on the fake Shadow, because unlike real Shadow, he does have some really cool facial expressions. So that makes it pretty obvious. So yeah, that's what I can come across into. And then I really want to know right off the get-go is the fact that who could be responsible for all this kinds of stuff whenever this happens to be. But even then, we'll never know until we're able to find out right about now. So even then, no, we finished up with Chemical Plant. What I found is kind of odd though is the fact that the timer on the underwater segments, as you can see, now counts out really fast. Which even then, that's the thing I'm not liking this so far. But even then, I managed to got out just in time, luckily, by the forms of that, you know, the momentum after when you're trying to get out or before you get out of the water. I always found that to be kind of a weird momentum to say that much. But even then, that's all I can really say about this level. But even then, we're still gonna come back for this level, but for when the modern Sonic were able to do this level, but that won't wait for long until when we get into the later stages and onwards. But for now, let's go ahead and just head back to the world map and just see how it's happening throughout. After doing with this level, that's if. But you know.
So, this is where the database is. Hold on a sec while I access the data from this computer. Okay, failed battle plans, robot designs. Wow, he's got like 10 terabytes of selfies. So where does he keep the... Found it! Virtual reality weapon. The Phantom Ruby. A weapon that takes control of people's visual and depth perception to feed false information to the brain, creating a new reality for them. Like a dream so real if you bump yourself in it, your sleeping self will bruise? It's hard to believe. Eggman experimented with lots of prototypes, and then incorporated the final version into Infinite. If I'm reading this data correctly, then there might be a weakness. This is huge! Let's get this information back to the others.
And now we got ourselves the next new stage in the lineup, and now in forms of we're going back to the city environment, we got ourselves yet another tag team stage, but in forms of Red Gate Bridge, stage number 19. Jeez, 19 levels already?
I don't like sitting on the bench, but there's nothing to do till Tails gets back.
Way to jinx it! Metal Sonic has been spotted in the city!
Is it another fake?
Why would they bother making a fake out of something that already isn't real? Couldn't they just build more? Either way, it's getting wrecked. Let's go, partner.
So yes, well, as what Amy said, is that Metal Sonic was going to be located in the forms of Red Gate Bridge. So we'll have to investigate and see how he's doing. Well, at least as far as I've already know, Metal Sonic was always on the bad side throughout in the army. Because, you know, much like Sonic CD, and especially notable with, you know, Sonic Mania as ever will be. But even then, yeah. We can simply just jump and then just do that. That's all you're really trying to do. I almost thought to myself, these robots, these defect robots right there, I almost found themselves to be a look intimidating at first, but they now become a little bit too safe or simplistic. I'm assuming this might be simplistic because you only encounter that robot at least once, and then you weren't able to defeat one, so what's the point of that? So anyways folks, if we're able to actually get to this sequence there, we've already instantly jumped into the next boss in the game, and that's in forms of Metal Sonic. So all you have to do is pretty simple, we have to basically boost all the way towards him until you're able to actually, you know, lock on into him. And then if you lock on into him with the cursor, with the homing attack cursor, is your chance to attack him. So that's all you're really trying to do. the rest of these red star rings are very, very simple and easy to get, even though despite the fact I already missed 3 of them, that's only because you're going to be in the speed of sound. But even then though, that you only have 1 attempt to able to do this part, because if you messed up at least once, you have to retry the level again, or just die the actual boss. So, yeah, you just have to keep on doing that until you're able to deal the damage on Metal Sonic. So, that's all it does. You wouldn't think this would be challenging enough by itself by any means, but it just makes it really, really pathetically easy. But I digress. I just noticed something right off the get-go is that the music track on Metal Sonic's fight is a lot more different this time around, because we're now going to be fighting against with Metal Sonic within a Stardust Speedway remix from Sonic CD as always, but this time USA version of Stardust Speedway's Bad Future version. Because unlike how it does it in Sonic Mania and Sonic 4 Episode 2, and especially noticeable with Sonic Generations, that the Stardust Speedway music was in Japanese or European soundtrack. But even then, or in this case just a remix version of the Japanese and European soundtrack, but even then they now switch it into the US version of the track. So even then I kind of still prefer the original version of Stardust Speedway Bad Future version in Sonic CD, and especially the most definitive listening to through Bad Future version of the Stardust Speedway in both Japanese and European soundtrack. But anyways, we got ourselves a double boost thing here, and somehow Metal Sonic is being obliterated into bits. It's not the real Metal Sonic that we've used to, because he was made out of virtual reality with the Phantom Ruby. So, thank you, Tails, for this little confirmation, or in this case, some information that we can able to listen through. So, of course, as you can see right there, we got ourselves our daily mission bonus. Every time you get ourselves the some mission objectives complete, you get ourselves this little bonus score times amount that you can able to actually do it a little bit of amount of time until you're able to actually get yourselves a double amount of points, which really, really helps if you want to get yourselves the best ranking in this game, which is obviously the S rank. So that's the only thing else checks out there. So that concludes Red Gate Bridge.
Hey, that was great! We're like a well-oiled machine. Fighting a well-oiled machine. Huh?
So yeah, enough of this respect right there. So even I know that could be something related to that clue after the very end of the game. But for now, the city is now finally concluded due to its percentage is now grown up by the forms of the Team Sonic's gauge, and in addition to yet another secret stage, which is I believe is called Vanishing Road 1. But even then, we'll get to that in the extra set of videos. But for now, we got ourselves the next stage in this game, which is the forms of stage number 20, back to Green Hill Zone for, well, Green Hill for the final time, but now plays the Avatar all by himself in Guardian Rock. So yeah, let's get started.
Got it, Sonic. I figured out a way to stop Eggman's Phantom Ruby.
Great work, Tails.
Based on these readings, the Phantom Ruby requires an incredible amount of energy, which only the Death Egg can provide. We simply stop the energy transfer, and boom! The Phantom Ruby is practically useless.
Simply? Last I checked, the Death Egg is a heavily fortified, well, Death Egg.
True, but I came up with a plan. First, we distract Eggman. While he's not paying attention, we use the chemical plant computer to hack into the Death Egg's weapon systems and shut it down. With no weapons, destroying the Death Egg will be a piece of cake. No Death Egg means the Phantom Ruby is nearly useless.
Well, you know, it's just crazy enough to work. So, first we need a distraction. I'm on it.
No way, Knuckles. You're too easily distracted. That's not a good trait for a distraction. Plus, you're our commander. We kinda need you here.
How about the rookie? Eggman would never expect it. It may even throw him off a little.
Good idea. You got your orders, rookie. We only have one more day before Eggman's plan is executed. So let's hustle.
Alright, so let's get started with Guardian Rock. So, yeah, that's what I can tell. Okay, another quick edit right there for this point, folks, of this Let's Play, because, it's nothing wrong with me or anything like that. It's probably due to how the fact that I need to get a lot of practice on this level, and even especially noticeable I need to get used to with the controls of the Avatar segment again ever since the second Infinite fight. So even then though that well, I need to get a lot of practice. So, and as a result though, I kept on dying a lot, and this is where the game starts to get really in the nerve side of things with difficulty this time around, because it's not just the level layout, or especially the level design or anything like that. It's more so due to this character's controls, which even then, we'll get to the latest parts of Classic Sonic segment when we get to stage 22, because I really hate that level. I can tell you right off the bat though, right about now. But even then, no, that can wait in the next video. But for now, I believe it's about time for me to do one more level on this video, and then the latest videos are gonna do, like, simply just continue on. So, I believe from Green Hill, Guardian Rock, I believe this is actually another level that is based off from E3 2017 demo kind of thing about it. Because I can definitely tell with this little gameplay footage of the demonstration of the Avatar character plays out. But even then, that's all you really can get. Because of that though, you're gonna have to run away by this little giant crab meat robot, which looks pretty menacing looking. But even then, all you have to do in this particular sequence right there... Oh, by the way, I've managed to change my weapons recently with the Wisp-ons, as you can tell. Although it still is the best Wisp-on weapon, if you couldn't tell already. But it does have some pretty good status with it. Like, for instance, I've got my shield with me, so that every time I get hit, it doesn't matter if I can get hit because it gets some of my protection. And also, I don't know what this other symbol is actually represents for, anyway. And here we go, let's go ahead and tie him up with those little whip, from the likes of almost very similar to how it does it for, I would say Simon Belmont from Castlevania series. Or especially with the Spider-Man action. But even then, that's really cool and pretty awesome at the same time too. Sorry for a little bit of an awkward dialogue for this point, folks. But even then, I'm afraid I have running out of news. I'm afraid, folks, because I have to discuss upon the mechanics is all about with this game in particular, especially the later stages. But for now, we've done with Guardian Rock in Green Hill. So this will be a final time we're going to be exploring Green Hill for the time being, because we're now going to be able to actually jump into this 4 remaining areas we're going to have to go into at this point, because after this little sequence is done, first things first. Yeah, that's all I can tell. But even then, though, that part is kind of easy, but in the final part, you need to quick step it before you dodge in those little rocks, if you can imagine with you seeing this footage right about now. But that's all you can really try to tell for this point, ladies and gentlemen. But even then, today was actually filmed off the 16th of January 2018, so yeah, that's all I can tell. Okay, so I'm afraid, folks, we're going to have to end things off here, so tune me next time on Let's Play Sonic Forces for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch version. It's the fact that we're going to be moving back into chemical plants once again. Oh yeah, we got ourselves our next secret stage, and that was the forms of... I don't know what this stage is called, by the way. And that was the forms of chemical plant, terminal, well, network terminal, I have to say that much, because I kept on forgetting that network word was there. But again, until the next video, I have to commentate in a little bit more than that, but even then, that's just how it is for today. So see you guys next time. Later, fellas.